Hello everybody, Walla here. Today we're going to talk about which class is the best, and in order to get to that decision or that conclusion, we got to go through the best subclasses on each character. We're gonna pick the best subclass on each character, then decide which one out of those three is the best in the game. We're gonna start off with Warlock because I know Warlock is somewhat controversial since Stasis came out, but also because of how strong Dawnblade is. So yeah. Before we get started, I would appreciate it if everyone could like the video. I have to start begging for that stuff, like I said, so thank you guys. So let's start on Warlock. Warlock, top two, without a doubt, in my personal opinion, and a lot of people's opinions, is Dawnblade and Stasis, the new Stasis one that came out. I know some of you probably play Stormcaller or something, and you know, like, oh, it's so strong, blah, blah, blah. No, all right. I'm not really, I don't really care who you are and what you play. Dawnblade is the best, and the new Warlock Stasis is a contender. Due to the reason that you can do so much on these classes. So for Dawnblade, for example, you're the fastest class in the game, right? You have the Icarus dash to Warlock skate, and it's no competition when it comes to speed. When it comes to utility as well, I think Dawnblade has the new Stasis Warlock subclass beat as well, due to the fact that Dawnblade is the only class you can actually aim and shoot while floating. Some of you might not think this is a big deal, but I've played on Dawnblade and I've tried to switch to the new Stasis Warlock subclass, and dude, I honestly think Warlock might be the hardest class to play on if you're not playing on Dawnblade, because the things you can't do while floating is insane. Like, I did not know Warlocks couldn't shoot while floating until I started playing the new Stasis Warlock subclass. Like, wow, like that's really tough for Warlocks, man. And I know there's a lot of you that have been frozen by the new Stasis Warlock subclass and probably think that it's stronger, but in reality, like the melee ability on the subclass is really good. Obviously, right? You melee and the insta freeze, which is extremely strong, but you have to look at it from I guess usefulness point of view, right? If you miss that melee, what are you gonna do after that, right? There's not much you can do on that class besides abuse that melee. And they also made the freeze time only 1.5 seconds, I think, which is still really good, obviously. I don't want to take that away from it, because freezing someone for 1 second is still really good. But the only downside is that's the only thing it kind of has, right? No one's going to run at you, or you're not going to put a rift mid-gunfight, right? Like, they're probably going to a really good player will shotgun you mid-rift when you try to do it, if you try to freeze them. Yeah, it might work against kind of poopy players, but for the most part, I think Stasis Warlock is just really annoying compared to being, really good. As where Dawnblade is like, if someone who's really good at Dawnblade skating and can abuse the fact that you can shoot while floating in the air and just a bunch of stuff like that, puts Dawnblade on top. And on top of the fact that the super is really good. I mean, Dawnblade's really, really good. The new Stasis Warlock super is good too, don't get me wrong. But, you have that, and also you have the Dawnblade melee as well. So for that, I'm going to put Dawnblade on top of the new Stasis Warlock subclass. Some of you might disagree, but that's just my personal opinion. So that's the best subclass for Warlock. As for Titan, personally, without a doubt right now, I would say the Behemoth class is the best. Personally, I know some of you, play Striker, Bottom Tree Striker. You have Knockout, you have Frontal Assault. You're hitting those 2 taps with the 120s, whatever it may be. One-shot meleeing people, which is really strong, of course, don't get me wrong, again, but I have to look at it from a point of view that I think Striker's really good when you use something like Dune Marchers, for example, but not everybody might, everyone might not use Dune Marchers, right? And from that point of view, I look at it like, okay, the Behemoth Titan gives you the extra slide distance, right? And if you're not using something like Dune Marchers actually grants you extra slide distance. But since that subclass gives it to you, you can, use other things that's not Dune Marchers to get that extra slide distance and stuff like that. Having extra slide distance when shotgunning is really big. And the slide distance you get from the Behemoth subclass is a lot better than any movement exotic that grants you it. So that alone is really, really strong for even if you're a sniper player. It doesn't even have to be shotgunning. So that alone is extremely, extremely powerful. And on top of that, the super is the best in the game. Behemoth Titan super is the best in the game, without a doubt. You can't, I don't care. I don't care if you're going to try to argue. You can't argue it, okay? It's straight up the best super in the game, hands down. So that's also a big factor when it comes to deciding which subclass is the best for Titan. I don't think there's a bad Titan melee, to be honest with you. I think every subclass for Titan has a really good melee, and that's no different for the Behemoth Titan, right? The melee on Behemoth Titan gives you really good speed. On top of the speed, like if you're in a really shitty situation or if you're getting slowed, you can actually use the melee to get out of it, right? And on top of all that, if you hit someone with this melee, I want to say it's a 90% guaranteed kill. Like that random 10% where that guy's just a fucking beast and you don't kill him. Yeah, that's gonna suck. But other than that, like I basically think it's always a guaranteed kill because you immobilize them every time you hit them and you knock them back across the map. So they usually hit a wall and die or something. So I'm not gonna get into too much why I think that the Stasis Hunter subclass is the best in the game, because I talked about it a lot in my last video why the Hunter Stasis subclass was so damn good. I'm just gonna straight up say that it is the best subclass for Hunter. No doubt in my mind. So we're gonna roll with that. And if you disagree, well, it sucks to suck because you clearly don't understand how the game works or something. So now it's a decision between Top Tree Dawnblade, Behemoth Titan, and then Hunter Stasis. So between these three, which one do I think is the best? And explain why. So right off the rip, I think Dawnblade is probably the least strongest out of the three. I know some of you are going to get kind of... I mean, I don't know. Everyone's going to get pissed regardless of what I say. So I'm going to just straight up say I think Dawnblade is the least strongest due to the fact that you can't crowd control on Dawnblade. I know there are really strong abilities on it, hence why I chose it to be the best Warlock subclass, of course. But compared to Titan and Hunter, being able to fucking knock someone away or slow them or absolutely freeze them completely is just way too strong to put it underneath Dawnblade. I still think Dawnblade is really strong though. Again, no hate on Dawnblade. These two subclasses left are probably the 100% the strongest in the game, and I like what Bungie did, giving Hunters and Titans some sort of movement buff. I know Hunters already had the dodge, and a lot of people are going to be like, what the fuck? Well, Hunters don't need a slam in the air, right? They already had the dodge, so I understand how you guys feel. But for Titans, they finally gave it something, something worth using, right? Like a movement thing. So the slide is awesome, man. It's really, really good for Titans. And, it's just, it lets it compete with something like Dawnblade, for example. Same for Hunters with the slam in the air. Obviously, Titans can't use the slide in the air, but they could use their melee in the air, which is also some sort of like movement thing, right? All right, so for the final answer, which subclass is the best? It's gotta be Hunter Stasis, man. Hunter Stasis, no doubt in my mind, is the strongest in the game right now. And in my opinion, it's too strong. I talked about it in my last video. It is way too strong right now, due to the fact that you always have utility to slow people and eventually freeze them, right? Because you have 2 shurikens and you have your dodge. You have three things to use to slow people and ultimately freeze them at the end too, right? On top of the fact when you have 2 shurikens and a dodge, you also have a grenade that can slow or freeze if you use the glacier nade, right? So I know the Titan slide, for example, some of you probably get really annoyed when you get shotgunned by someone with it, but ultimately, like, besides the slide, I don't want to put the slide, like, to the point where, it's not good, because I do think the Titan slide is really good, but the Hunter also, I forgot to mention, Hunter also has the Shatter Dive, right? Shatter Dive literally every 1 second on top of all of what I listed before, so it's just from a utility standpoint, you have too much on Hunter, man. Too much at this point. They need to fix something. I do think it's too powerful right now. But anyways, I'm not going to get into that. That was my last video. All right. So thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. And if you disagreed with me, let me know in the comments down below. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.